You have been doing this for so long, and you have continuously, I'm sure, want to see the sport grow and get better, not just on the Jamaican soil, but overall for track and field. But let me start with our local product of track and field, administrative wise, the talent. What's your current view of where we are in 2022?
As far as talent is concerned, I mean, I don't think I don't think we have a talent problem. I think that we have good people. They might be not as um, not as appealing to the eye as others come before. You know, the guys not as fast as Bolt or Blake
Mm-hmm.
or Sybil, but I mean, I think that if you are running 10-2, 10-3, 10-4 in high school, you have a very good chance of running well under 10 seconds.
Yeah.
You know,
As a senior.
as a senior, you know, within three or so years. So I think we have a constant supply of good talent among the men. We certainly have. I think it's not as good as among the women, but I think a lot of the female programs have overdevelopment issues. But there are still good women there, you know, and you know, so I think that if we have a good program locally, and we have a good system. Some people go to school overseas, others take the chance to here, whatever. Then you know, I don't see why there should be any great drop off in 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 achievements or results. The problem I think is that the support
Mm-hmm.
from the federation I think has gotten drastically worse. I mean, and it's highlighted I think by the fact that, you know, for example, we used to be able to depend on 5 to 6 meets
Mm-hmm.
between May and
June.
and June before the trials. Every Saturday, people could go out and run and
Yeah.
so on. Now somebody has told them that it's a bright idea to not keep a meet unless you're giving away money.
Yeah.
Um, for whatever reason, you know, and they have these Jubilee and Destiny and that kind of stuff, which quite frankly are unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
They they have they have reduced the available opportunities for people to run. It is against the reason why those meets were the all-comers meets were developed in the first place.
Yes.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, and so you know, I think we have lost our way there. I think the JAAAs must be able to find a way to market their sponsor, whoever it is that put on these meets, while making sure they keep the concept, the development concept of making sure we have opportunities to run every weekend. And if not, but I mean, now that we see how it has gone this year, I think next year MVP will put on meets every week to make sure that everybody has a chance to run
Yeah.
on a weekly basis.
Because I mean, you can understand them wanting to give away money to help athletes. So
But they don't work. I mean, it doesn't work because the people who they're probably going to give it to, they don't really.
need it.
The people who are going to get it don't need it, and the people those who get it, probably won't be it does not affect your overall performance at the
Okay.
end of the day at the top
Yeah.
level. So that doesn't mean that they shouldn't give the money out,
No, I understand.
right? But what it does mean is that you have to be careful that in itself is reducing your chances of getting medals and opportunities to compete because for the athletes who are training, and what they really need at that time of the year is competition, not dollars. You know, and so, but there must be a way to merge it for them. So I'm saying I'm proposing to the MVP people that look, let the JHAs focus on giving out money, and we will focus on putting on meets so that people can compete on a regular basis.
Yeah. So that's what they
Yeah,
need,
because
especially at that
that is
stage.
what our athletes need, and I presume that's what all the other athletes need as well.
Yeah. What has been a disappointment for you? Because when you started out MVP, you spoke about the lack of support during the time of Asaf until he broke that world record. How much development have you seen from the federation that you can applaud and wish that they would have maybe built on it, but they haven't?
I think the problem with the federation is that the main problem with the federation is that I think they want to do well,
Yeah.
but they don't know what to do, and they don't ask advice. Right? So there are certain things which they do which they feel must be good, but if they were to consult with myself or Mr. Mills or Mr. Wilson, they would realize that no, there are a lot better things that you could do. And so it's not a matter of them not being well-meaning.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of these are technical issues, and technical issues need people with experience and who are involved in the thing to to come up with the ideas, or at least okay the ideas that you have brought, who you have come up with. The J3s I think tend to have their technical people as though people are in high school, though people coach in high school, and it's not the same thing as trying to compete at the international level against the best in the world. So but so they're well-meaning, but they need to reassess, revamp their committees, the technical committees, get proper technical experts on the committees, remove some of the high school focus on it, right? And so we can have something which can properly blend both the high school and the seniors.
Yeah. World stage of athletics. Are you pleased with the progress being made? The continental competitions, the Diamond League. Are you pleased with where the sport is in terms of that level of competition and IAA?
To be honest, I thought that under the current president of the IAF, of the World Athletics, Lord Coe, that we'd have seen a big jump in the status and the financial success of the sport. I mean, it is hard to blame him or his administration because of the intervention of COVID. However, I can say that I have not seen anything different under his regime so far. And I'm hoping that now that the world is becoming more back to normal after the last 2 years, that we can see some programs implemented to change the sport, to make it more modern. I mean, there are certain basic things like, advertising on clothes and being able to get individual athlete sponsors who will be able to get something from the athlete.
Yeah.
Those kind of things. Being able to organize the Diamond League and World Continental Tour circuits in a way that fans can follow.
From all over the world.
To promote fantasy.
Yes.
And to put statistics in a way or in a form that will mean people will follow the scores, the times, and so on. Those are the kind of things I think that they need to pay attention to as soon as possible, because those are the kind of things which are crucial to making sure that athletics can compete with the other sports, which are more visual, are more tense in terms of two teams. Well, mainly football. Right? But there has to be a revamping of the whole way the sport is presented in terms of what the figures mean, allow the figures to be something that people can follow and can bet on, and so on, so that you can get far more
track and field fans
to
become attractive
to following it. I mean, you have to go down the path of gambling. You have to make sure that if you produce a product that people can bet on.
Yes.
And it must be worldwide.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
At this stage of your career as a coach, you've been doing this for so long. Do you still get excited?
I love I mean, my passion has always been in bringing new talent or new people to the fore, and you know, as long as I mean, not that's not to say I'm not um, serious about developing or improving the people who are
Yeah.
already established, but you know, the new ones tend to bring me a little bit more excitement.
Be hungry for success. Yeah. You sometimes come across controversial, but I've always said to people that I don't think that your bite is as bad as your bark. Do you think that there's a misconception about you in terms of because you just say it as it is?
No, well, I mean, I can be very diplomatic. I mean, when it needs to, but sometimes, you know, in Jamaica, diplomacy tends to lead to. It is hard for people to understand, to do self-examination and understand that they are doing something wrong.
True.
You know, and Jamaicans always see themselves as experts
At everything.
at everything. You know, and in fact,
Everyone is a coach.
And in fact, they know nothing. You know, so sometimes you have to say, look, you all don't know nothing. You're talking rubbish. Here's what you should do.
Yeah.
Right? But other times, if the stakes are not high, you make it slide. I mean, there are certain things which are fundamental, which you can't avoid.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't allow anybody, would be the J3s or anybody else, to tell me how and when to prepare athletes to win medals. I mean, to me, for anybody to even think that, to me, is disrespectful, right? And they clearly have hit their head somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Because based on the success that our program has had over the years, I mean, it should be you coming to us and saying, yo, what do you need? How do we get it? How can we help you?
Yeah.
Not you trying to tell us
What to do.
what we should do. So therefore, in cases like those, I have to say, look, you know, just to tell it as it is. But there are other times when the consequences are not that great, and you leave it alone.
You spoke about your level of success. You and your team at MVP because it's a team.
Yeah.
You're like the Popeyes KFC. You know that there's a secret ingredient, and people can't stop go to them to buy the food, but they won't give out their secret. But they'll tell you, come and buy. What makes you the greatest track and field coach? Because people label you as that, whether you want to take that title or not. What is it that you do differently, you think, that has resulted into your success over the years?
Well, I tell people who ask me that, I tell them that I believe that the main difference between myself and most other people, or people I've observed in this in life, is that I never believe that I'm right.
Okay.
And, even at anything I believe now is only temporary. You know, but I know it's going to be wrong, and it will be proven wrong at certain points in time. You know, so you're always seeking to better what you do now, because of the feeling, of the knowledge that, okay, what you have been doing so far is total rubbish, no matter what the results have been.
Okay.
Right?
So you're always open to learn.
Always learning, always changing, always always thinking about improvement.
Yes.
About changes.
So you're never satisfied with.
No.
Yeah.
You know, so that is what I think. I mean, you know, because our program has come from where it was in 1999, 2000 to now, which I think is vastly different, which hardly anything the same. We still have certain areas like discipline and so on, which we find very important, so which we keep. But I think that we have always tried to make sure that we give the people who train with us the best possible chance, which means that we know we have disadvantages. We don't have a proper and nice looking weight room.
Yeah.
Right? We have a bumpy field up at UTEC where we train the majority of the time. I mean, sometimes the grass is way too high, and so on and so on. But given all those things, we try to use those things to try to develop the best possible outcomes for the athletes.
Yeah.
And one of the things I always tell the staff and do it myself is that, look, it makes no sense to complain to anybody because nobody's interested. Everybody has their own problems,
Yeah.
and it will never be an excuse. Excuses are not acceptable in this line of work.
You have to do what you have to. What you have.
Do, yeah. You know, and we have gone through enough painful championships. Last one being 2017. That we understand that, you know, this you do everything to try to make sure that things are what you are close to what you expect.
Yeah. Who recruit people on social media and all over the world, right? So I traveled once before, and somebody said they're a coach of football in Portland, Oregon, and they're like, I'm obsessed with Stephen Francis. How does he do it? How do you spot a regular young lady or a young man and say, based on how them are running now, I feel like so they can maybe be the next best thing. What do you look at and assess and say, if I'm to get that athlete, all being well, like you said, you know, putting things in place, maybe, what is it that you look for?
I do look for people based on how they look and how fast they run, but I have been involved in, over the last 20 years or so, and we have developed enough people who nobody gave a chance to realize that, you know, the most important thing is their desire and their willingness to be disciplined. I believe that our program, based on not only my opinion, but based on the success rate that our program has had, is probably certainly one of the best around.
Yeah.
And that once you have some talent and you are willing to do the work and have the discipline, then you will develop to your best possible level.
Yeah.
And so therefore, we don't think it is necessary to go out and go after the latest guys who run 10-1 and 10-2 and so on, because we have developed quite a number of people who run under 10, who run under 10 seconds. What the time they came to us, we were running 10-6 or worse. So, you know, I'm not saying that you can convert an 11 flat guy into a 9-9 guy, but I'm sure that if you we get guys who run 10-5, 10-6, so on, we will do a good job with them and probably surpass those people who were a lot faster than they were.
Yeah.
Similarly, I mean, young Shakoria, well, she's not so young, but Shakoria, I mean, she never did.
And that's Wallace.
Athletics at all.
Yeah.
You know, and even though her future is not going to be as long as like a Shelly, but she will have a decent future as a sprinter in the near future. And you know, so which tells me that, you know, you don't need to go after the girls who run 11-1 or
guys who running
whatever
10-1. Yeah.
Right. We just need people who can run, who believe that they can run, and who are willing to make the sacrifices and to do the work that we ask of them.
Do you get nervous around trials or major championships when the athletes are about to hit the track? Do you get a little nervous?
No, because the system that we use at MVP is such that we pretty much know how everybody's going to perform.
Okay.
Long before, and that is not necessarily only based on what they did on that day, but what they did and that day compared to last year or times, you know. Before. So I mean, you know, but so there are very, very few times that we have surprises.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just a matter of it being a confirmation of what we expect.
Yeah. You spoke about Shelly and Fraser-Pryce just now. So you have had a number of athletes over the years that depart the club before they go into retirement. Do you get heartbroken when that happens, or you understand it's a business?
No. It is. Look, I told you already that my passion is to develop new people.
Yeah.
Now, if I still had here Elaine, Shelly, and assuming Sharon was still running, and then there would be no pathway for new sprinters.
Okay.
No, I mean, there's no way I can have. We also got lost Christiania,
Yeah.
who had run 10 something, and
Yeah. Julian
Natasha,
Ford.
who had run 10 something. So we
Yeah.
had 5 carry.
Mm-hmm.
So we have had 6 or 7 women who have broken 11 seconds. But now, currently, we only have 1, 2. So now there's room for the other young ladies
Okay.
to come forward. We have about 3 women who are at 20, 21, 22, and those who we expect that by next year will be at that sort of a level. So, you know, in sport, talent must turn over. You must turn over talent.
Yeah.
You cannot allow stagnation. And while it is not easy for Barcelona to lose a Messi, for example,
Yes.
right? Eventually you have to go on, you reform, and you then try and outdo what you did when Messi was around.
Yeah.
And that is how sports fans should look at this. You know, I mean, most fans follow football where people leave clubs very, very regularly. Your best players leave.
True.
You know, but you develop others and get others who will replace them, and this is how I see it.
Yeah. Any young talents out there in track and field, no competing, not just maybe at the high school level, but you know, sticking to the senior level that you're impressed by, whether it be male or female athlete, that you're like, yeah, that whether you're coaching them or not.
No, I mean, I have reached the point at this moment that, and this is a lesson I learned very, very early, you know, that, you know, the times you run and the races you win, they count for nothing apart from at the very, very top. You know,
Yeah.
so in other words, I mean, no matter how well you are, you until you challenge for medal or until you win medals at the
global,
very top level, global level, then you know, so therefore, and winning medals at the global championship has nothing really to do with how good you may be.
Yeah.
It's pretty much your ability to come back next year and do the same thing. Right, and that leads. I mean, that a lot of people miss there. You know, I've seen many athletes who come out and do something one year, and by the next year they're not so good, and by the year after that, not so good even.
Yeah.
You know, you have got to focus on winning at the very top. You know, and
that's
so
the main goal.
That is the main goal of the sport as it currently is constituted. And so while there are people who you would admire, you know, it is tempered by the fact that, you know, what you're really looking at really are the people who do deliver the medals and who win.
Yeah. So before I let you go, you've been doing this for so long. Do you think retirement, because people will want to know that, you know, do you think retirement, let me ask that first. Do you think retirement, does Stephen think like, you know, maybe get another 5-10 years or you just go when you're tired?
I guess, I mean, anytime you can't get up in the morning and come to practice, or you don't want to travel anymore, or, you know, then I guess that's it. But yeah, at the moment, you know, I'm still enjoying.
Okay.
As I said, because I have a constant stream of young people.
Yeah.
You know, you tend to be extremely interested in what you're doing. You know, and you know, it matters more to me, for example, how one of those young girls run than some of the older athletes. Even though the older athletes are running at a world class level.
Yeah.
You know, but so I mean, after the trials, now we focus on those world class people.
Are things in place if you should walk away, you're comfortably, you know, be walking away knowing that MVP, the baton will be carried on very well, because, you know, Jamaicans and the world will start panicking and say, Lord, for this and the panic.
It is hard to replace persons in an area such as coaching
Yeah.
because a lot of coaching is individual, the individual personality,
Yeah.
um, ethic, work ethic, and so on. So even it's not about having a program or having a system. I mean that is part. I mean, somebody else can come in a system and they perform very poorly doing the same
Yeah.
things. You know, so you inevitably will have difficulty replacing good coaches. However, what you want to do is ensure that overall that there are systems in place so that other people have a chance to develop. You don't want everybody to be able to develop, to have to develop like how I did.
Yeah.
By trial and error, by taking huge risks and so on without support. You know,
Yeah.
you would love if there are other people around who you can develop. You can help themselves develop, help them to develop so that you will have some sort of system in place that will develop proper coaches.
Yeah.
And because right now, I think that there's a huge coaching problem we have in Jamaica.
In track and
In
field?
track and field. Very, very, very.
But we see you know, Walcott, we have Akil Stewart, Michael Frater on the rise, you know, and others.
As I said, we have, when it comes down to the what I mentioned to you as the crucial issue
Yeah.
in the sport, you're winning medals at the top level.
Okay. Yeah.
You're still down to Mr. Mills, Mr. Coleman.
And Stephen Francis. Yeah.
So therefore, what a part of the problem that we have is that there are a lot of young coaches who believe that because they have athletes who run a couple races fast, that that's becoming important. I remember when I first was on the scene, and I had Asafa, and I remember when Asafa ran 997 and 995. All right, and one of and I was of course on top of the world,
as you should be at that time.
One of the shoe companies executive said to me, "Coach, let me tell you something. That don't mean anything.
Yeah.
If you can't win the Olympics, you're irrelevant." And that stuck with me all the while, and because
that's what they look for.
That is how cutthroat this thing is.
Yeah, and many people don't see it as that though.
But no, they don't know it. And so I am acutely attuned to the fact that okay, what counts are these major championships, and sometimes, a lot of times, having people running fast outside of those situations is not good. It's not in the interest to help those, in the interest of those athletes to win at the major championships. You have to time. It's nice to run fast, but you have to run fast at the proper times and be able to beat people.
Yes, when it matters most.
When it matters most, and that is so. I don't think those lessons are properly learned. You know, but as I said, a lot of coaches, I think Mike is doing a good job with Titans. But as I say, it's easy for anybody to develop one person.
Yeah.
What we want to do is to see whether or not you can develop that person further.
Yes.
And also if you can do it again with somebody else.
Yeah. You know, repetition is important as well. Yeah. All the best to you.
Thank you.